Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. Of course, you guys heard by now that today a gunman opened fire at a school in Sweden and over 10 people lost their lives. I know you guys are familiar with this story. They had 10 fatalities, including the perpetrator himself. Now, this tragedy has been labeled as the worst mass shooting in Swedish history. A lot of people that were there described the harrowing scene, recounting sounds of gunshots and screams as students and staff scramble for safety. And authorities that were on site are still investigating the motive behind this horrific act. And they've ruled out terrorism at this stage. They stated that the Prime Minister, Elf Kirsten, addressed the nation, expressing profound sorrow and emphasizing the need for unity during the challenging time. I'm curious of how Sweden is going to respond to this. Is Sweden are going to impose stricter gun laws? Is Sweden are going to do something rash? You know, in America, when we have a lot of the mass shootings, it seems as though any bill, any legislation gets gridlocked in Congress or within the legislature and nothing essentially get passed. I know all of us enjoy our constitutional rights as bearing arms, but could they be more that the government can do and to restrict guns out of those criminals and or people with mental issues or any state of that matter? Could they be other tests or background checks, not to limit our American freedom of bearing arms, but more safeguards in place so firearms are not in the wrong hands? I wonder if Sweden are going to do anything on those regards, No, of course, I know you guys have heard that Robert F. Kennedy is a known vaccine skeptic and environmental lawyer. He has moved a step closer to becoming the nation's health secretary because today, RF Kennedy, despite his very controversial views on vaccine, Kennedy has garnered support from the Republican majority, making his confirmation by the full Senate increasingly likely. If confirmed, RFK, he will oversee significant agencies, including the FDA and Medicare, with a substantial budget at his disposal. Now, his nomination has sparked considerable debate, given his unconventional health perspectives and the potential implication for public health policy. Hopefully, he does something astronomical. Hopefully he does something that's going to benefit the country, because I know a lot of the ingredients and additives and preservatives in our food, a lot of the chemicals, when you guys are reading processed, America, we have some of the ultra high processed food. We have to look for actual ingredients and labels that say low processing or no processing, no GMO, no additives, no antibiotics, no this, no that. So again, hopefully he can come in and make American food healthy again, more so than a lot of the chemicals they use to increase the flavor or the addictiveness or the effectiveness or preserve it even longer than what it should be preserved. You guys remember Super Size Me, that documentary that I forgot who the artist was who did the documentary, but how I believe there was a McDonald's cheeseburger in their pocket for like 3 years, or French fries in their pocket for like 3 or 5 years, and it still looked the same way. It wasn't black, it wasn't molded. It was totally preserved that entire time. It wasn't refrigerated at all either. So again, hopefully he can do something that's going to benefit the country and take a lot of these poisonous chemicals that we can't see and sometimes can't even taste because we're used to it out of our food. That would be a very, very good thing. And of course, I'm pretty sure you guys heard this as well, because former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard has seen her nomination for the Director of National Intelligence advance through the Senate Intelligence Committee. And the committee vote held today was narrowly split along party lines, of course, reflecting the contentious nature of her nomination, because Gabbard, who is a combat veteran with a history of very unorthodox foreign policy positions, she faced a lot of scrutiny over her past interaction with foreign leaders and her stance on whistleblower Edward Snowden. Now, despite these controversies, she has secured crucial support from the key Republican senators, voicing her prospect as the nomination moves to the full Senate for consideration. And I know that Tulsi Gabbard, as well as RFK Jr., they're both going to get confirmed at this point. They have the majority. And don't forget, at this point, the Republican Party is in power with the presidential, executive branch, judicial branch, and legislation. When you look at judicial, when you look at the judicial, when you look at the Supreme Courts that are nominated, who are in office right now. So they definitely have the majority. Now, China has been fighting back against the U.S. because, as we shift focus, China has implemented a series of retaliatory measures in response to President Trump's recent imposition of a 10% tariff on Chinese imports. Beijing's counteraction included imposing tariffs ranging from 10 to 15% on U.S. exports, such as coal, liquefied natural gas, crude oil. Additionally, China's antitrust regulator has initiated an investigation into Google for potential violation, and they're signaling a broader strategy to challenge U.S. economic policies. And they're basically stating, okay, we want America to do a fair deal as well. But now they're attacking some of our private companies like Google. And maybe this was something already on the chopping block in China, as well as other countries, these so-called antitrust laws. But as America imposed 10% tariff tax on China, all of a sudden you want to do an investigation with Google. That's what we call being petty. That's what we call being petty. I thank you all for joining me here this evening. And for the best part of the broadcast, I have a bit of a special for you guys tonight, of course, because in today's digital world, the .com, and that's any .com that you're referring to, the .com, the .gov, the .mil, the .edu. It's everywhere. It powers businesses, social works, e-commerce, in nearly every major platform. We're talking about the .com. We're talking about the search engine. We're talking about how you query things and look things up on the internet, whether it be by Google, by Bing, by Brave, any search in any sort of internet search that you're trying to make, or any website that you visit. Now, when we look at these different online platforms, who do you think is behind the creation of these .coms? What if I told you that a black man was behind the very foundation of the internet revolution? Meet Emmett McHenry, the brilliant mind who pioneered the technology behind the .com domain, the backbone of the modern internet. Without his contributions, the digital world as we know it wouldn't exist. Yet, so many black innovators. His name has been largely erased from mainstream history. Born in the segregated South, Emmett McHenry grew up in an American that often denied black people access to education, business opportunities, and technological leadership. But he refused to let racism limit him. McHenry earned degrees in communication and computer science from Northwestern University, later serving in the United States Marine Corps before entering the corporate world. But his true legacy will come from his work in the internet revolution, because in the early 1990s, the internet was still in its infancy. Finding website required typing long, complicated numerical IP addresses. You guys remember like 192.168.1.1. whatever, which made online navigation nearly impossible for everyday users to use it. You and I couldn't really use it unless you knew this IP address verbatim, or you have it written down, or you had it in some sort of log or record. But McHenry saw the problem and had the genius to solve it. As the founder of Network Solutions Incorporated, he developed a system that allowed website owners to register domain names, making it easy for people to access websites by typing simple names instead of numbers. So instead of typing this IP address, you would just type the name of that domain. The innovation gave birth to the modern .com domain system, a technological breakthrough that changed everything. McHenry's company, Network Solutions, became the first company authorized to register .com, .net, and .org domains, a contract granted by the U.S. government in 1993. This made NSI the official gatekeeper of internet domain registration, controlling the sale of domain names for businesses, individuals, and organizations worldwide. McHenry's work literally built the foundation for how websites are named and accessed today. Under McHenry leadership, Network Solutions paved the way for modern internet. But like many Black pioneers, he would soon face the all too familiar reality of corporate America. In 1995, the U.S. government privatized domain registration, and NSI became one of the most powerful companies in the tech industry. However, McHenry's company was taken over and sold to Science Applications International Corporation, a white-led tech giant. Later, NSI was resold to VeriSign for $21 billion, making it one of the biggest internet deals in history. Despite the building the very foundation of the internet, McHenry did not profit from this massive sale. This was another case of Black brilliance, creating billion-dollar industries while white corporations reap the rewards. Even though McHenry was pushed out of his own company, his impact remains undeniable because today there are over 160 million .com domains registered worldwide, all thanks to his pioneering work. His technology is used by every major internet company from Google to Amazon to Facebook or Meta. The entire e-commerce industry, which is a $5 trillion globally market, depends on domain registration, an industry he helped create. His innovations made the internet accessible to everyday people, not just tech experts. McHenry didn't stop after Network Solutions. He went on to become the CEO of Netcom Solutions International, a telecommunications company, and later founded organizations dedicated to advancing Black business in tech. Despite not receiving the billions he rightfully deserved, he remains an icon of Black innovation, resilience, and excellence. While billion-dollar companies continue to profit from his innovation and his inventions, we must recognize and celebrate Emmett McHenry for the internet pioneer he is. So every time you type a .com, a .gov, a .mil, a .edu, remember, a Black man paved the way for that. And we should all be proud of that because it's not only Black history, it's American history. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. Good evening, Volvo. This is Blacklogic.